Daddy told my little brother to buy these spider mounts.
By the way, I'm not joking about the helicopter landing on the roof. This is a hypercardioid mic, the kind they use in a football game. Nobody ever talks about floors. It's totally rednectified, but it's duct tape, and it works. Hey, I've had to live and work all over the world, and wherever I go, I also have to build a radio studio for live broadcast and production. Your mileage may vary, but I've had to do this on peppercorn budgets. I've done it many times. Here are some ideas that may help you. This apartment is in Mexico City. It's really noisy out there. One of your first jobs is to keep bad sounds out, especially if you're live and can't choose when you are on the air. See here, a couple of layers of plexiglass folded, bent, so that the sound gets in there and can't get out. Look at that dirty silicone work, but it gets the job done. And you can't hear when the guy is mowing the lawn outside or when one of my neighbors lands a helicopter on the roof. And by the way, I'm not joking about the helicopter landing on the roof. I have a special neighbor. Satan brought him to me. He has a housekeeper who moves furniture around all the time. I had to make these pieces by sandwiching some hardware store foam and in between, a little bit of insulation. Totally redneck, but it really works to kill the ceiling. The basic principle is that you want to keep sounds you do not want in your studio out of your studio, and that can sometimes be really hard. But there's another thing you've got to do, is deaden the room in an appropriate way so that the sounds you make don't bounce around and around. First of all, make sure your right angles are minimized, so it's not like a game of Pong with the sound waves, even by moving your desk a little bit. The other thing is, use your corners. See back here? In this little corner, I've used a tiny little bit of fire-retardant foam, and that tiny bit of foam has a marvelous way of trapping those sound waves and keeping them in the corner so they don't reflect back. See this little pegboard here? You can plan your work on it and have some fun. Just pick it up at the hardware store and glue it together. But it also does a great job at killing the sound that would otherwise reverberate back off the wall. Again, as part of the fun, anything you can do to trick that sound into turning a corner and getting trapped. See this pink insulation between my cheap outer and inner walls? It works as a bass trap, a big bass trap that just grabs low frequencies. Now you can make a bass trap yourself just by lining a trash can with pink insulation. So if a jumbo jet is flying overhead, I cannot hear those low rumbling frequencies in the studio. I've built a bass trap. Nobody ever talks about floors, but look at this stuff. It's great. It keeps sound waves from echoing off the hardwood floor. Some exercise matting from the hardware store and a little bit of carpet just put together. Sounds great, real dead, and it's kind of fluffy under your feet. I've done this many times, but I still make mistakes. In this case, I blew it on the adhesives. It was a Mexican adhesive. I didn't understand the set times, so I actually use a little twisty, expanding shower pole to keep these things up. It works fine. So you want to keep sounds you don't want in, out, and you want to silence or deaden the room just a little bit. Not a lot. You don't want to kill the room. You want it to have a little bit of character. But I want to talk about equipment now, and let's start where it's really ugly. Again, this is your play place. It's for fun. It's not for presentation. Come on, let me show you. Start with power. You've got a lot of really important equipment. I'm in Mexico for this studio, and I have 3 or 4 voltage regulators, okay, starting with this one, as well as battery backups. And on the roof, I have a generator ready to go. I can drop down a cable. I can't hear the generator from down here, but if the power's out, I'm still good to go. As part of the no air failure mandate that you're going to have in your studio, you need power coming in all the time, but you also need internet coming in all the time. What if your main internet fails? You've had another team come in with another household internet service and an A/B switcher. In case one of them goes down, your producer, for instance, can go to a spot and you're back on the air. A great way to use audio over the internet is with the COMREX system. It buffers constantly. It's amazingly versatile, and almost everybody has a COMREX unit in their studio. You can be anywhere in the world. There are other devices other than COMREX. Tieline makes a really good unit. Pick and choose what you like. Now, since we're here together, I want to talk a little bit about studio monitors. These are not very fancy, And the reason is, I believe in the old Motley Crue test. If you're mixing things down, even commercial spots or your own voice work or complex imaging, at such a high definition that your listeners are not going to be able to hear what you hear, there's no use to it. Think about the guy in an old Ford F-150 pickup truck with a 3-inch paper cone speaker on the dashboard, and make sure you're mixing so that he can hear what you hear.
Sometimes a very expensive, sensitive microphone can make you sound worse if you don't know how to use it.
And I just wanted to talk about microphones with you for just a bit, and I'm going to mention name brands. First of all, this is an RE20. As you know, industry standard. I do heartily recommend them. It is the workhorse, and like Lance wrote in his book, "It's not about the bike." The truth is, it's not about the mic. It's all about how you use it. Close, on the side, getting comfortable with the mic. But this is such a forgiving and excellent microphone, you really can't go wrong. Please don't buy a used one. It could be coming out of a radio station where people have been spitting on it for the last 60 years. And you'll notice my spider mount is broken. They break. I don't know why they break, but they break. So I have a couple ready to put back on there. There's also a company that makes special, more durable spider mounts for the RE20. Similarly, in case I have a real noise event, I have another pair of earphones and another mic. This is a hypercardioid mic, the kind they use in a football game. And on the air, I can actually switch from one mic to the other quite seamlessly. Talking about processors, one of the most important things your processor does for you is offer a gate so that you can control when your room is quiet, when you're not talking, when the processor will shut down the whole thing. Many other features on a top-of-the-line processor like a 528E, which is my personal favorite, but I'm on a budget like you. So for another mic, I have this excellent DBX 286, and frankly, there's almost no difference between them. They're just both excellent. One costs nearly $1,000 and the other one costs a couple of $100. And you see this thing here? This is possibly the most handy thing in your studio. It's a mic mute so that you can cough. And they can't hear you on the air. You can quiet anything down, such as when your kid comes in the room and says, "Daddy, can I have a cream cheese sandwich?"
Remember the first rule of broadcasting. You can show up crazy, but you can't show up late.
Another critical accessory, the GPS master clock. It tells you the really real time.
Because when you got to get out at 58:50, you got to get out at 58:50.
And this thing here, well, it's a cassette deck. Why is it there? I don't know. Do I use it? No.
This, for instance, is a tape cartridge, which is old and of very little value, sort of like my Uncle Louie.
Is it cool? Yeah, because your studio is all about you. It's your playroom. It's just for fun.
It doesn't matter how you look. It matters how you feel, and that's a good thing for my dad.
It's a huge blessing, actually, that this studio you're building is not a place that you need to bring your clients to that has a coffee machine, or well, you could have a coffee machine, or polished brass. This is a place for you to fix your stuff, goof around, and be creative. And there's some cool stuff about having junk all over the place. For instance, those AA batteries behind me, yeah, when your mouse goes down while you're on the air, you're gonna need to grab some in a jiffy. Oh no! But other than easy access to all your equipment and all the crazy buttons you're gonna wanna push as part of your creativity, the most important thing your broadcast or production studio should have is proximity to the Tinkle-Winkle toilet, so that during the spot break, you can take a whiz real fast. Thanks for watching, and I hope there was a tip or two in here that will be meaningful and useful to you.
And remember, the most important part of building your little studio: have fun and learn as you go.
And by the way, a lot of the gear in this video is in the description, plus a little more. Check it out.